Hey guys, you're in a nutshell with me, Ina. We have another episode with immigration lawyer Lou Dangzalan at uunahan ko na kayo, na tinape ko, tinanong ko tong issue na ito. At the same time, we had our most recent episode with Lou. Yun nga lang, I decided to cut this part and make it into a different episode dahil ibang topic naman. Okay, so ano ba tong topic na ito? Ang IRCC, naku, naghihigpit ngayon and talagang binubusisi raw ang mga immigration applications, specifically watching out for fake work experiences. Natanong ko dyan si Lou. At yun na nga, based on his observations, it's true, there is a crackdown on fake work experiences. Kaya ito na, puntahan na natin yun. Okay, Lou, I've been reading some conversations on social media saying that it seems the IRCC is on a, parang crackdown, is on a crackdown on fake work experiences na sinasubmit sa mga applications, different applications, no? Ikaw ba, sa observations mo, meron ba lumalapit sa'yo, may ganyang concern, na baka sobra naman yung scrutiny sa kanilang mga employment backgrounds?
It's not new. First of all, it has always been open to officers na mag-imbestiga. At the end of the day, duty nila ito. Talagang kailangan nilang siguraduhin na legitimate yung mga documents and yung mga kiniklaim ng mga applicants to protect the integrity of the system, di ba?
Yeah.
Pangalawang punto, meron bang tendency ngayon na mas mataas yung incidence nito? Sa palagay ko, meron nga talaga. A lot, I would attribute it to two factors. Number one is just like absolute numbers, because Canada has been receiving more applications than ever before. So just by the function of absolute numbers, yung incidence nito tataas din talaga in direct proportion, di ba? Pangalawang punto is it's also a convergence of technological changes pagdating sa pag-evaluate ng immigration applications. Last time that we talked in terms of like temporary residence refusals, na pag-usapan natin ang paggamit ng immigration ng artificial intelligence as well as yung mga processing tools like Chinook. A lot of these tools allow them to process applications at breakneck speed, but at the same time, napagtatabi nila yung mga applications and napaghahambing nila ng mas maayos. So, sumo total nito is you can basically create algorithms and programs that can detect fraud using artificial intelligence, diba? So, pattern recognition lang naman ito pagdating sa realm of artificial intelligence. So, pag may flag, halimbawa, itong file na ito, flinag ng AI for further investigation, meticulously, babasahin ito ng officer. And let me just give you two anecdotes here. While back, kaya sinasabi ko, matagal na naman talagang ginagawa ito ng IRCC, I had a consultation once where our consult came in and nakatanggap sila ng PFL from immigration. Ang PFL na to is actually quite accusatory in a sense na, claim mo may experience ka from this particular office from Marikina. Tapos, pinuntahan ng aming investigator ang office na ito sa Marikina, wala pong laman ng building. Imagine that. So, hindi ito bago. Matagal na talaga nilang ginagawa.
Kailan yan?
Mas madami lang. Siguro mga 2021 ito, even during the pandemic. Imagine that. Diba? Alam naman natin nung GCQ, ECQ, whatever it was nung time na yun, diba yung barbecue, nung time na ganyan, nung pandemic, ang hirap gumalaw. Pero nakapagpadala pa rin sila ng kanilang PI, ng kanilang private investigator para tignan. So, hindi siya nakakagulat. Yung incidence niya ngayon na mas mataas, absolute numbers, and because mas magaling na silang pumunteriya ngayon ng mga potential fraud because of artificial intelligence nga.
Oo. Ako, I wanna share with you, you mentioned PFLs, no? Kasi ako meron, alam niyo naman, ang dami kong sinusundan, guys, ng mga RCRC din sa social media. I was wondering if you, maybe one of your clients, received this similar PFL. Okay, guys, yung PFL, basically, it's a document sent to applicants kung merong konting duda or questions. Yung immigration officer, binibigyan ka ng pagkakataon to explain whatever it is that they are questioning. Ngayon, ang sabi nung isang RCIC na sinusundan ko, no, parang it seems dumadami yung ganitong line of questioning. Ang nakasulat dito sa highlighted portion, guys, kine-question or may concerns yung officer about the size and scale of operations noong kumpanya na sinasabing pinagtrabahuan niya sa kanyang home country. Yeah, what do you think about this? Oh, February 2025 to dated, guys. So talagang recent lang siya.
Very recent.
Have you heard of this?
I have not had the displeasure of having a similar experience, thankfully. Because, sa sidebar ko na lang yung discussion na yun kung bakit hindi ako nakakatanggap ng ganyan. Pero it doesn't surprise me na may mga ganitong letters because they do investigate, as I told you. Because at the end of the day, meron din mga specific countries na flagged by IRCC for higher incidents of fraud.
Yeah,
in terms of like immigration frauds and claiming or let's say work experience na non-existent naman. So yung first instinct ko, for example, if I have a client and claiming experience, let's say from our home country, from the Philippines, tapos nakikita ko yung company, hindi naman siya parang malaking, alam mo yun, like blue chip company na nakikita natin sa Buendia or sa Ayala, diba, na hindi familiar. So syempre, ako as an immigration lawyer, to protect my client, I will also do my own investigation actually. So ito na yung sidebar na sinasabi ko, titignan ko mismo, una sa lahat, tignan ko yung letterhead. Letterhead, familiar ba? Mukha bang legit? Okay, legitimacy check, number 1. Number 2, may website. Okay, may website. Check natin yung website. Ayun, lumabas yung website. Or let's say, hindi lumabas yung website. O baka naman down lang talaga yung website. Number 3, check natin yung phone number. Tinatawagan ko minsan yung mga phone numbers ng mga businesses na unknown sa akin. That's my job. As an immigration lawyer, as a representative for my client, to protect them from potential investigation down the road from IRCC. And in certain cases, na-flag namin sa clients namin na, teka, itong phone number na binigay sa'yo ng inyong employer, hindi gumagana. So, paano ko mag-i-investigate yung officer, diba? Tapos ito yung phone number na tinawagan nila. Tapos the number you have dialed is incorrect, or the subscriber cannot be reached, diba? So paano yun? Anong gagawin natin kapag ganun? Siyempre makakatanggap kayo ng PFL and mag-explain pa kayo, hahaba yung proseso ninyo. Instead na kung sa simula pa lang nalinis na ito, naayos na ninyo, hindi yung magiging problema. But again, to go back to your main question, hindi nakakagulat itong mga developments na to.
Guys, si Lou pa lang yun bago siya tumanggap basically din ng kliyente, nag-due diligence siya. Paano pa ang IRCC? So I guess one concern would be, Lou, paano kung yung kumpanya ko talaga maliit lang, tapos pagdududahan, tapos yung may-ari ng kumpanya ko, hindi naman techie, yan. Sa Pilipinas, marami pa rin ganun, Lou, they don't have, let's say, websites.
Of course.
Small company. Baka ma-judge naman ako agad na nag-fake ng experience.
Yeah. Ang hirap, diba? So, paano nga kung gano'n ba, meron akong client na yung situation pa niya, nagsara na yung business. Tapos yung business, isa siyang, very well-oiled karinderya in a public market in Guagua, Pampanga. Diba?
Okay.
So, paano may prove yan, diba? Ang hirap. Alam mo, nagwe-website ba yung mga karinderya? Hirang-hira, diba? So, yung mga ganitong situation, tatanungin ko, ano yung mga supporting evidence na pwede kong isubmit bukod dyan? So, may letter of employment ka. Legitimate ba tong business na to? Well, hindi na existent yung business dahil sinara ko na siya, sasabihin ng owner. Well, pwede po ba kaming humingi ng inyong registration papers from the municipality? Like municipal permit. Pwede po ba akong kumuha ng DTI registration kung may DTI registration kayo? Nag-file po ba kayo ng income tax for this business, for example, sa BIR, di ba? Kung meron kayong mga ganyan, pag kumpunin ninyo, dun pa lang sa unang submission, pwede nyo na isama. Nothing stops you from doing so para hindi magsimula magduda yung officer right off the bat. Tapos explain na dun sa letter, sabihin na ng employer or former employer rather na, ito pong business ko po na to, sarado na po. Pero, nung nagtrabaho po si Ina about 5 years ago as general manager ng aming karinderya slash restaurant sa Guagua, Pampanga, ito po yun. At ito po, may mga pictures din po ako nung nandun po kami, magkakasama kami. Diba? So mga ganun. Halimbawa kung independent contractor naman kayo noon, abay kumuha kayo ng mga testimonial letters from your former clients. Kung may mga kontrata kayo from them, gamitin ninyo. Hindi po kayo bawal mag-submit ng additional document. Hindi porkat sinabi nilang employment letter lang. Pwede po kayo maglagay ng supporting documents pa.
Yun, medyo meticulous lang ang Lulu, but I guess that's what you have to do dahil nga medyo mas mas mabusisi. I think that's a term ngayon ng mga immigration officer. Dahil as
Correct.
you mentioned, there has been actually may tinutukoy na isang bansa kung saan marami talagang cases of fraud patungkol sa mga work experience na pinipresenta doon. Ano ba ang punishment, Lu? Kapag mahuli ka na meke, what could happen?
Well, according to Section 16 of the Immigration Refugee Protection Act, you have the obligation to tell the truth when an officer asks you a question. Number one. Number two, under Section 40 of the Immigration Refugee Protection Act, if you misrepresent a fact that materially misleads an officer, so ibig sabihin kung may fact ka na presenta na material sa decision-making process na magli-lead sa officer na magkamali sa pagbigay ng visa sa dapat hindi naman deserving, ay ito'y misrepresentation. At kapag kayo nahuli, mapapatawan kayo ng 5 years ban from Canada. Kung misrepresentation yan, tas halimbawa, may asawa kayo na permanent, nag-a-apply din ng permanent residency kasabay ninyo, maaaring sila din damay kapag ganyan. Nagkakaskid po yan, yung misrepresentation.
Oh my gosh. O, di ba? Medyo matindi rin, 5-year ban at baka madamay pa ang iyong mga kasama sa application. Oh my
God. Yung collateral damage dito actually na nakakainis is because Canada shares information with the United States, United Kingdom, Australia, and New Zealand. Any immigration officer from those countries technically has access to what happened to you in Canada. So, diba mag-a-apply ka ng visa for the US down the road, makikita nila yung history mo ng misrepresentation.
Oo. Okay. Oh, well, guys, ayun, alam. Ay, one last question pala, Lu. Do they go as far as checking your social media? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So, quick story is like when we have new clients, that's one of the first thing we check. So, halimbawa, bibigyan kami ng kopya ng CV, i-fill out nila yung kanilang personal history sa aming mga intake sheets, i-interview namin sila. Titignan din namin ang kanilang social media, specifically LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, etc., kung consistent. Kasi kung hindi aligned, pwede magkaroon ng doubts ang officer. Sasabihin ng officer, sabi mo nagtrabaho ka sa Procter & Gamble as an advertising executive, pero it looks like you were a research assistant. So bakit itong contractual position na nakuha mo na hindi naman full-time, for example, binoblow up mo sa iyong express entry profile. So that's material misrepresentation right there. Nag-check sila. Exactly.
Naku,
kasi at the end of the day, for them kasi, tinitignan nila kung consistent ka sa yung mga representation of yourself. And to be fair, madami sa atin ginagamit ng LinkedIn as a platform to kind of like create like a little bit of a fluffy profile, diba? For job seeking.
Yeah.
Pero syempre, ito na yung zone na parang, teka, nagsisinungaling ba tayo? So syempre si officer, they will check. They do Google, by the way. Yeah. Google ka nila.
So again, guys, they do check social media, but it doesn't mean naman na kung wala kang social media, is it a red flag? Kasi some people also, let's say Facebook, private yung mga profile, wala namang problema doon, di ba?
Wala naman.
Just for all, I think, publicly accessible.
Ito yung mga extrinsic evidence factors na ginagamit nila. If they have issues with that, they have to bring it up to you. Halimbawa, nakita nila inconsistent yung LinkedIn mo, just remember, tapos na-refuse kayo on that ground, just remember na meron kayong karapatan to answer any accusations as well.
Yan. Okay. Lua, thanks so much. At least
You're welcome.
Will give applicants keep them on their toes. And guys, be careful about what you put in your application sa work experience. Be accurate. Actually, lahat, hindi lang work experience.
Consistent dapat tayo, yeah. Keep a log.
Yeah. Okay, guys, if you wanna get in touch with Lou, his contact information will be down there sa description box. As always, Lou, maraming salamat.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you, Ina.
Yeah, thanks, Lou. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!